In 1992, on a quiet field near the village of Hoxne in Suffolk, England, one of the most astonishing treasures in British history was unearthed, the largest Roman treasure ever found in the United Kingdom. It contained over 14,865 Roman coins made of gold, silver, and bronze, along with nearly 200 precious objects such as jewelry, silver tableware, and intricately crafted household items. The total weight was estimated at 3.5 kilograms of gold and 75 kilograms of silver, a staggering hoard hidden beneath the soil for more than 1,600 years. Today, the Hoxne Hoard stands not just as a collection of precious metals, but as a time capsule from the final days of Roman Britain. Throughout the history of archaeology, certain discoveries transcend their material value. They carry within them the echo of an age long gone, a snapshot of human life, faith, and fear. The Hoxne Hoard is one such discovery. It was found entirely by chance, yet it opened a window into the final moments of a collapsing empire. In November 1992, a farmer named Eric Laws set out to find a lost hammer using a metal detector on a farm in Hoxne, Suffolk. He had no idea that his search would lead to one of the greatest archaeological finds of the century. When his detector beeped, he expected to find a few rusty nails instead. He had just found the voice of history buried beneath his feet. Archaeologists were called to the site immediately. As they dug into the cold, moist earth, glimpses of gold and silver began to emerge. Piece by piece, the ground yielded its secrets, thousands of coins and artifacts, each perfectly preserved in a carefully buried wooden chest. The archaeological team eventually uncovered more than 15,000 objects in total. This was not a random dump of valuables. Everything had been arranged with precision, layered in boxes and wrapped to protect them from decay. The care taken told a story of urgency mixed with hope. Unlike many ancient hoards buried by raiders or soldiers, the Hoxne Hoard was a deliberate act of preservation. It was hidden not to be forgotten, but to be retrieved one day, a personal vault sealed against chaos. Scholars believe it was buried near the end of the 4th century AD. During the final years of Roman rule in Britain, the empire was fracturing. Armies had withdrawn, cities were falling, and invasions from Saxons and Vikings were sweeping across the islands. In such times, wealthy Roman Britons hid their fortunes beneath the earth, some in hope, some in fear. Whoever buried the Hoxne Hoard never returned to claim it. The collection was astonishing in its craftsmanship. There were silver bowls, drinking vessels, and jewelry of delicate design. Bracelets engraved with Christian symbols and inscriptions, gilded spoons used for religious rituals, necklaces and rings with tiny Latin prayers etched along their edges. One spoon bore the inscription, Pacentia vivus in Dio. May Pacentia live in God. That single phrase speaks across time, a whisper of love and faith from someone facing the collapse of their world. Names such as Aurelius, Ursinus, and Juliana were found engraved on several pieces, suggesting that the treasure belonged to a prominent Roman family living in Britain around 407 AD. These were not merchants or soldiers, but aristocrats educated, wealthy, and terrified by the coming storm. The coins themselves tell a clear story of the era. Among them were gold solidus and silver siliqua bearing the portraits of emperors Honorius, Arcadius, and Gratian, the last rulers of a crumbling empire. Each coin served as a timestamp, a silent witness to Rome's final centuries. Through these coins, historians can trace the slow decline of imperial power and the economic shifts that preceded Britain's descent into the Dark Ages. The Hoxne Hoard was so well preserved that archaeologists decided to lift the entire block of earth containing the treasure and transport it to a laboratory for excavation under controlled conditions. Every coin, every fragment was cataloged and cleaned meticulously. It was an extraordinary moment in British archaeology, not only for the size of the hoard, but for the window it opened into a world long gone. Among the recovered items were delicate ladles, engraved spoons, gold bracelets, rings, and a mirror that still reflected light after 1,500 years beneath the earth. The craftsmanship was unmistakably Roman, elegant, functional, and refined. Each piece spoke of luxury and daily life at the very edge of the empire. This was not treasure for a king, but for a household that had once known grace and comfort. In 1993, the treasure was valued at £1.75 million, though its true worth can never be measured in currency. Its real value lies in what it represents, the end of an era. The Hoxne Hoard is the final heartbeat of Roman Britain, a civilization burying its last light before darkness descended across Europe. Today, the entire collection is housed in the British Museum in London. Behind glass, under soft museum lighting, the pieces seem to rest peacefully, yet their story remains alive. Visitors peer into those display cases and see not just silver and gold, but the echo of a family, a culture, and an empire. You can almost imagine the day it was buried, the hurry, the fear, the hope that someone would one day return. The Hoxne Hoard continues to fascinate historians, archaeologists, and storytellers alike. Its existence raises questions about identity, faith, and the fragility of civilization. It reminds us that empires fade, but human intent to remember, to preserve, to hope endures. Perhaps what makes this hoard most extraordinary is its human touch. It was not abandoned in chaos, but carefully placed in the ground by hands that still believed in tomorrow. The Hoxne Hoard is not a grave, it is a message of faith in the midst of collapse, a message of continuity in the face of despair. When you look at those coins still gleaming after 16 centuries, you see not only Rome's greatness, but also its humanity. These were objects of daily life, symbols of a world that once thrived with art, commerce, and belief. And though the empire fell, its story remains engraved in silver and gold, waiting for us to listen. The Hoxne Hoard is more than a collection of objects. It is a conversation between centuries, a reminder that time can bury many things, but it cannot silence memory. From the moment Eric Laws heard the faint beep of his detector, the past reached out and touched the present. And in that instant, 1,600 years of silence were broken. The treasure of Hoxne belongs not just to Britain, but to all of humanity, a testament to what we choose to protect, to believe, and to bury for those who will come after us. It stands as a final spark of civilization, the last light of Rome that still shines beneath the English sky.